Sad times when fighters found themselves in unfortunate situations after their battles in the ring. First up, we have Pritchard Colon, a Puerto Rican gold medalist who suffered brain hemorrhage after his fight with Terrell Williams, where he was hit multiple times in the back of the head.
Determination, motivation, he wants to win.
And Colon drops down to his knees. The crowd is furious right now. The ref calls time. Right hand, and yeah, I mean, that was directly to the back of the head.
It's a heavy shot. How to deal with the guy like
Williams. Colon is down. Final 10 seconds of the round.
He had then collapsed in the dressing room and remained in a coma for 221 days. He was then in a persistent vegetative state and was unable to speak. He was eventually released from the hospital and is currently receiving physiotherapy and is now able to talk through the use of a computer.
What is your name? Who are you? Who are you? What is your name?
My name is Pritchard Colon Melendez.
That is you! That is you. Where do you live? Where's your house? Where do you live?
I live in Winter Park.
That's right, you live in Winter Park, Florida, and you travel all this way to see me.
Gerald Allen McClellan faced British boxer Nigel Benn in a brutal and unforgettable super middleweight bout. Although McClellan dominated early, knocking Benn out of the ring in the opening rounds, his momentum gradually faded as the fight wore on. In the 10th round, after enduring a fierce exchange, McClellan was stopped and shortly after collapsed in the ring.
But he is on his back. He's stretched out, is Gerald. Now, take a look.
They've turned him over. They've turned him over to the side, and he is in all kinds of difficulty.
He had suffered a severe brain injury, falling into a coma shortly thereafter. Though he ultimately survived, the injury left McClellan blind, partially deaf, and in need of full-time care. Since the incident, his sister, Lisa McClellan, has served as his primary caregiver, dedicating her life to his well-being. Another tragic incident occurred during the rematch between Michael Watson and Chris Eubank. In the 11th round, Watson was leading on points and appeared close to securing a stoppage win. He knocked Eubank down with a powerful overhand right. However, just moments later, Eubank rose to his feet and landed a brutal uppercut, causing Watson to fall backward and hit the back of his head on the ropes. Referee Roy Francis stopped the bout in the 12th round. Shortly after the stoppage, Watson collapsed in the ring. Shockingly, there was no ambulance or paramedic present at the venue. Medical assistance arrived over 8 minutes later, in the form of doctors dressed in dinner jackets, by which time Watson had received no oxygen. It took a total of 28 minutes before he was treated at a neurosurgical unit. Watson spent 40 days in a coma and underwent 6 brain surgeries to remove a blood clot. After regaining consciousness, he endured over a year of intensive care and rehabilitation. However, his story is extremely inspiring, as Watson even proceeded to do a marathon after being told he would never walk again, defying the odds. His opponent, Chris Eubank, also made several heartwarming gestures towards Michael Watson.
I don't really know whether I can even still make sense of what happened. Him having to go through what he's gone through and to still be here and to can't tell you how sorry. I can't tell you how sorry.
It's all right. It's okay, bro. Let's move on in life. Peace and love. I love the Chris. That's all in the past. Let's move on in life. We're here together. Let's live in love. I love you, Chris.
The case of Lavender Johnson is another deeply tragic story. Unlike Watson, Johnson was not as fortunate. During his fight against Jesus Chavez, he sustained several critical blows.
Alvin was the case early in round 1. Here's Chavez again.
That's the distance he's at. As long as he keeps his distance between him, he works his jab, he's doing very good.
When Chavez gets close, though, he's able to throw more punches and land both to the body and the head. Good body shot by Chavez there. Momentarily freezes Levander. Uppercut and a hard right hand. Levander not able to get off at this range. Needs to step aside. Chavez has him trapped.
He's got in a fighting mode now, and I don't think he can get back into his boxing mode.
Great body shot by Chavez with the left hand.
Although he managed to leave the ring on his own, he collapsed shortly afterward in his dressing room. He was rushed to the hospital, where doctors performed emergency surgery to address swelling and bleeding in his brain. Following the operation, Johnson was placed in a medically induced coma. Though doctors initially feared he wouldn't survive the night, he made it into the following week and showed some early signs of improvement. Unfortunately, his condition eventually plateaued and began to decline. On September 22, 2005, a decision was made to cease life life-prolonging measures. He was pronounced dead at 4:23 p.m., surrounded by his family. Gabriel Olanrewaju, widely known by his ring name as Success, tragically collapsed in the third round of his match against John Banogu.
Getting through a double punches there from Gabriel. And oh my goodness, Gabriel just went down there and oh my goodness, Gabriel. Well,
I think Gabriel is in trouble.
Yeah.
I think he's in trouble.
Gabriel might be in trouble, and they need to really get the amalgam out from his mouth before they can administer.
It was later confirmed that he had suffered a cardiac arrest. However, no defibrillator was used during the emergency, and the medical team present appeared unprepared and poorly trained to respond to such a critical situation. Despite attempts to save him, Gabriel sadly passed away shortly after the incident. His death has sparked serious concerns about safety standards in boxing, especially at local and regional levels. Investigations are now focusing on whether pre-existing medical conditions were missed and how he was cleared to fight in the first place. The tragedy has led to growing calls for better medical screening, proper emergency equipment, and trained personnel to be mandatory at all combat sporting events. Gabriel's passing is a heartbreaking reminder of the risks involved in boxing and the need for stronger oversight to protect athletes before, during, and after a fight. John Henry Cooney, known professionally as The Kid, was an Irish boxer. During his career, he held the Celtic super featherweight title. However, his career was tragically cut short due to a bout with Nathan Howells. In that fight, he suffered a series of devastating blows that caused severe internal injuries.
Referee having a good hard look at Cooney there.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble now. I don't know if the referee is thinking seriously about stopping it. It would be awful for John Cooney and his professional boxing career if that was the case. Well, Howells is certainly doing his best. Fast, and Cooney in all sorts of trouble, and that body shot has really taken the steam out of him. And Nathan Howells is coming forward trying to end this with 20 seconds to go, and it's been stopped.
Despite immediate medical attention at ringside, his condition rapidly worsened. He was transported to the hospital, where doctors discovered extensive brain trauma. He was placed on life support as his body struggled to cope with the damage. For a short time, there was hope he might recover. However, his condition showed no significant improvement. Doctors later informed the family that there was no brain activity. After careful discussion, the decision was made to withdraw life support. Simiso Buthelezi was a South African boxer who competed in a lightweight title fight in early June 2022. During the final round of the match, he appeared to be in control and was landing punches effectively. After briefly knocking his opponent through the ropes, the referee stepped in to separate them. Moments later, Buthelezi suddenly began swinging at empty air, facing a direction where there was no opponent. The referee quickly recognized something was wrong and stopped the fight immediately. Buthelezi was disoriented and unable to respond properly and was rushed to the hospital for urgent medical evaluation. Doctors discovered he had suffered a brain injury, reportedly due to internal bleeding. He was placed in a medically induced coma to stabilize his condition. Despite efforts to save him, his condition worsened and was pronounced dead on June 7, 2022. Benny Paret was a Cuban welterweight boxing champion. He was known for his toughness and willingness to take on any opponent. On March 24, 1962, he faced Emil Griffith in a highly anticipated title bout at Madison Square Garden. The match was the third in a trilogy between the two fighters. During the fight, Griffith landed a series of devastating punches in the 12th round. Benny became trapped against the ropes and absorbed more than 24 unanswered blows. The referee hesitated to stop the fight, and Benny took significant damage. He collapsed in the ring and lost consciousness.
The canvas. Paret goes down from sheer exhaustion. Look at him there. As his handlers put his mouthpiece out. Dr. Schiff is coming over to look at him. Paret has collapsed from exhaustion from that beating on the ropes. And Dr. Alexander Schiff of the commission is trying to get at him. The fight has been stopped, and the winner and new champion is Emil Griffith, but we're more concerned about the condition of Benny Kid Paret than we are about the title at the moment.
He was rushed to the hospital, where doctors discovered severe brain trauma. Benny was then placed in a coma as surgeons attempted to relieve the pressure on his brain. Despite medical intervention, he failed to gain consciousness and died 10 days later on April 3, 1962.